Hi, this is Vanessa Love, and this is my channel about the mental health field and related topics. Okay, so, alright, this is more of a story time, and there's a lot to it, and hopefully I kind of explain, a lot of things. Oh my gosh. Alright, so I had a friend for maybe 7 or 8 years, and he's someone who I was friends with while I was in grad school, and grad school me was a very different person than who I am now. There's always traces of who I am, but I just wasn't very assertive, and I wasn't very, I just wasn't very assertive, and I wasn't very, I think, aware of myself. And people will be like, oh, but you were studying to be a therapist. How did you not know? And it's like, well, yeah, I just didn't. I think sometimes when you're not expecting to have to deal with people's shit in your personal life, you don't think about dealing with their shit in your personal life. You just don't, it's not expected, so you're not oh yeah, no, I shouldn't be friends with this person. And he was a crap person. He really was. And it amazes me sometimes that I'm and I put up with that. And I was still friends with that person after they did that. The other thing is that he was one of the people that was really hard. It was really hard to have the friendship break up, because we had been so close. People knew, it was the two of us always hanging out and going out, and people knew us. They saw us. And so it's it was almost you can't have one without the other. And so we were thick as thieves, and there was a lot leading up to our friendship breakup. I think it started when he went out to California. So this is Connecticut. He went out to California, and he that was kind of tough for me, because it was just oh, my friend's gone, and he probably wasn't coming back. We spent a little bit of time together. We were kind of growing apart at that point, but we were still around, and his California trip sounded like absolute fucking shit. And I don't know why he thought it would work out, because it was just oh, I'm just gonna go out there. Okay, yeah, of course. So what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna stay? Oh, my family has friends out there. Okay. So what are you guys doing? What do you plan? So it sounded like it kind of went like this. He took his cats out there. He moved out there. He was maybe at a weed farm, but a while ago he started having problems with his back, and he says that the Yale doctors don't know what's wrong with him, don't know what's going on, couldn't help him anymore. But I don't could that be true? That they can just not care for your back? I've never heard anyone else say that before. I've heard people be yeah, I'm just gonna take pain medication for the rest of my life. But I have never heard anyone with back problems just be oh, I'm just gonna the doctors don't know what to do with me. Please correct me. But I don't know. There's the spines and joints, and all of the other things. I'm this. I know that there's disorders that affect bones. I don't know. Something was going on. So living on a weed farm, he was supposed to do pruning or something, and he just couldn't keep up with everything because his back hurt all the time, and he could only do so much before everything just, I guess, stopped working or was in so much pain. So it's one of those things where you can only do one thing, sit for an hour, and then you have to lay down, or you have to stand for an hour. It was one of those that's kind of the disability. It might have been longer. It might have been he can do things for 2 hours or 4 hours, but I don't remember. So, which again, I understand that part. I've also had one of my friends have surgery. Basically, one of her discs disintegrated, which I'm like, oh my God, that's terrifying at age 30. Like, oh my God, her disc just disintegrated. Like, oh my God. But she had surgery on it. So, like, and then ever since then, it's been like, you can lay down, you can sit, you can stand. That's it. But it has to be switched up, all, pretty regularly. So, so he was like, well, I'm slow, and so we're not getting as much product and we're not being paid as much, and like, I'm just kind of slowing everyone down. So I think he left. He stayed in a flea infested motel. His cats ran off. And then like, he stayed at the friend's house, and then I think came back. Had he been honest about coming back, things would have been fine, but like, sometimes things related to him, he just didn't like do anything about. It sounds so weird, but like, yeah, he just didn't do anything. Like, he would get very defensive about it. Like, he was trying to give up cigarette smoking, and I caught him smoking a cigarette, and he's like, well, I'm above that. I'm above it. And it was like, no, you're not. Like, you were just having a cigarette after you gave it up. Do not tell me you have control. Don't tell me you always have control. That seems like an uncontrolled thing, and like, had it been something else, like, I've had family members who have been like, oh yeah, I was really addicted. I saw someone smoking a cigarette. I couldn't resist other than to ask them to have a puff. And when I did, I realized why I don't want to smoke anymore. It's like, oh, that was fantastic. I don't want it anymore. Thank you. And like, I think that that's, a way to just be like, cigarette, you almost got me, but I remembered, So like, had he said it like that, would have been fine. But like, that's not what he said, and that's not what he was doing. So like, what an asshole. And then, so he came back, and he was like, oh, my mom is really sick. That's why I came back. That is not true as to why you came back, sir. He came back because he wasn't going to stay out in California. I could have told him that before he left, but he needed to experience that for himself. And then when he came back, he was a double asshole, because he'd be like, I had such a great time out there. I lived on a commune. I had a great time out there. And I'm like, yeah, okay. You can have a different experience from me. I'm not telling you have to have the same experience as me in California, because like, I went out there for high school, I went out there for college. It's a totally different experience than living on a commune and being like a full-grown adult. Like, okay, go, whatever, maybe go back to California. I don't know. Maybe go to Oregon, maybe go to Washington, maybe go someplace that is actually like maybe attuned more to you. But yeah, for him, it was California. I don't know why. It's okay. He had the calling, he came back. But then, like, to just not, like, to just not acknowledge that he came back not because his mom was sick. His mom wasn't sick. His mom wasn't that sick that she couldn't figure it out on her own. Like, he came back because his parents wouldn't support him anymore. And that's the other part of our friendship, was that I thought that he would have a job before me, and I was like kind of upset about it, just because like I was young and dumb. And he graduated a year before me. He never got like a real job. Like, and I don't want to like say that, but I'm just like, I know people who pet sit. That's a real job. You can make a lot of money from that. You can have consistent people. You can do all sorts of things when you have people who are right there, like, and who, like, you're making money off, like, you have consistency. And I think that person is also right now like a personal assistant too. So like, she does the dog walking, the pet sitting, and then like the other stuff as well, right? Which, like, she has a business. She owns that business, right? Well, like, he did that occasionally. And then, like, but he'd also do weird things, like, train dogs, like, that he was pet sitting, which I'm like, don't train other people's dogs. Like, if you don't like the way that owner and the dog are interacting is kind of none of your business. Like, I don't understand that part. Like, why would you think that you know better and that you had to take on the responsibility of training their animal? That's up to the owner. That, like, and I think one time he got super mad because, like, one of his clients didn't like that he was training their animal. And I'm like, yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Like, you should have left that. And, like, gosh, yeah. Like, so he, like, just didn't, that was very inconsistent. It wasn't, like, getting him out of, like, any debt. He couldn't pay his parents back. He has been a very big, dent in their debt because his mom got out a couple of loans to support him, and he said, yeah, I'll pay you back. I'm going to get a job. And then he just never did. And then he's disabled. So, like, it's just this whole thing. And, like, there is still a part of me that's like, you should have done more while you were able-bodied. You should, like, and it's weird because he could do things, but sometimes he'd be like, oh, can't do that. And it'd be weird things too. Like, he'd be like, yeah, we're gonna go climb trees. Okay, let's go climb trees. That's fine. I bought a desk. I'm gonna put it together. Oh, I think I can help you. And then he walked in and was like, I'm not gonna help you. My back hurts. Like, it was like light as air. Like, it was a really nice desk from IKEA, but like it wasn't difficult to put together. So, like, I was fine, but like you can I don't like what that's a very weird and very specific thing. And, like, again, he never really described what was happening in his back. Like, I have lower back issues, or I have upper back issues, or I have middle back issues. I've had other people with back problems, and I'm like, oh no, they'll tell you exactly. They'll be like, okay, so there's this, like, little bulging disc right around, like, the base of my spine, whatever it is. And, like, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, it's okay. And, like, I've known other people who, like, pulled their back muscles, and, like, now that could be re-injured. Like, totally understandable things where it's like, oh yes, lift the arm too high, and can't, like, function for a couple of days. Again, that's totally fine. That's very understandable. I was never kind of given the, hey, I can do this, but I can't do this. But, like, when it came to helping out, sometimes it was, I can't do that. So it kind of seemed manipulative, for lack of a better word. It was like, okay, well, we can go do fun things when he's feeling well. But if on that same day we have to do work, he's not going to feel well. Make it make sense. Ugh. So, yeah. Yeah, like, so after he came back from California, he was another, like, as I said, he was a double jerk, right? So he was like, I came back because I had good things to do all the time, and I did such great things in California. I would do them again. And also, he was, like, close to 40 and dating, like, a 19-year-old out there for a couple of weeks. And that was, like, an obsession of his. And I think it was probably more of an obsession of his because he wasn't working. That's kind of, it was weird. I don't agree with that. I don't think that age difference, I don't think after, like, age 22 you should be dating a 19-year-old. Like, it's just, like, how about let's not? Like, there's, like, a reason for that, and, like, whatever it is, it seems sinister. Like, it just no. Just, like, I want to be like, for the 19-year-olds to leave that man alone. But anyway, yeah, like, I mean, it sounded like she made that choice and didn't want to be involved with him, and he was obsessed about that. So I used to say walk, and I used to say crowns, like crayons and walk. My friend made so much fucking, like, he made so much um, like, he teased me so much about that stuff. Like, he would stop full conversations and be like, did you just say walk? Like something you cook in, wok? Like, apparently everyone else in the entire world who speaks English says wolk, and I'm the one that doesn't say walk. Because I don't pronounce the L. How dare I say walk instead of walk, or wolk, or whatever. I apparently the L is very important in walk. So you have to pronounce it. It has to be wolk. It has to be walk. And apparently, even though many people, and this could spark debate, say crayons, like, people like his dumbass will be like, it's crayons. Say crayons. So I do say crayons, but, like, Jesus, I said crayons for a long time, and, like, it's just a shortened version of crayons. So that got kind of annoying. I didn't want to spend too much time with him. He was constantly late, at least 2 hours, so that's fun. One time almost made me late for work because he was asking me for a favor, and then he showed up late. So that's fun. I was late to work that day. That's nice. And then, so I was about to tell him a story. We were doing messages, and I was like, yeah, like, here's this thing that's happening. And I, as I was like, oh yeah, I have something to tell you, I must have misspelled something. And what often happened in our conversations is that if he just found something so funny within himself, I'd have to wait until he stopped laughing so that we can have a conversation. That was fun. No matter what it was, I could be like, oh yeah, oh, see that guy walking over there? Oh, yeah, that guy walking. I mean, that could be the devil in disguise. Oh my God, that would be so funny if that was the devil in disguise. Can you imagine if that was the devil in disguise? Oh, that'd be so, oh my God. I can't imagine if that was the devil in disguise. Oh my God. Okay, so, and like, usually I'd be like, mm-hmm. So what I was going to say was like, oh, that guy is named Richard and he's a really nice guy. But we just had this whole, thing about him joking and laughing at his own joke. At one point, I think we were still friends after this, but he said something to the effect of, I think you've only dated people just to entertain your friends. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you think that I put my heart on the line like that? To entertain you? Like, it was so rude. And then I think later he gaslit me about that. I would never say that about you. You said it to me. You said it to me. You didn't say it about me. You said it to me. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So in the middle of me telling him something, about to tell him something, he left and made his own joke. And I wasn't mad. I just was done. Just done. And I was like, I'm out of the friendship. I wasn't mad. I wasn't even mad. I never said anything negative to him. I just was like, I have no connection to this anymore. And I think he went off onto Facebook and was like, people are, burning their bridges or making a slow burn for friendships or something. But to me, what he said was, if we are not friends, then you are going to the dark side and no one returns from the dark side. He was real mad about it. And I was just like, I'm not mad. I don't even care that you're saying this. I don't care that you're mad at me right now. Like, there is nothing more to say. There was nothing more to say. And it's been years. He was also a very spiritual person, and he said that, like, he does kind of a lot of dream stuff. he has been in my dreams lately, and we have been arguing. It has not been nice. He's also said weird things like, oh, we've been siblings in a past life and we've been married in a past life. None of which I remember, so I'm just like, whatever things that you think you remember, probably not. Because I don't know if I would spend many lifetimes with a doofus like him. I hope that I don't. And I hope that if we were married, I probably murdered him, or that I just divorced his ass, maybe left with someone else. You know, that'd be kind of a cool thing to do in a past life. Fuck off. We don't have to be around each other. You can pretend to be married. Go fuck yourself. You know. But yeah. And you never really know, you know, like, you just never, like, if you're not expecting it, you just really don't think about, like, oh, this person could be a terrible person. And then you have 8 years of a friendship, and then you're like, I'm good. You can just go. It's okay. Yeah, so we don't talk anymore. I mean, I think it's a relief. I think he's obviously not finding relief in it. I've been fine without him for, just as long out as I was ever in. So yeah, like, the breakup, the friendship breakup was really hard, but it was also like very necessary. And like, especially if someone's that big of a jerk, you do have to just get them out of your life. I mean, and again, I wasn't even mad. He was the one trying to retaliate and say all these things that, like, just didn't make any sense to me. And I was just like, yeah, I'm out, but I'm just out. And I think I've, saved the screenshots of those, and I've ran into them a couple of times and just been like, oh, yeah, that's why we're not friends, because he just went down a very dark hole there that was like, wow, you are angry. I don't have anything. I don't even have any fight. If you want to believe that you were the only light in my life and that's the only reason that I was ever doing good for those 8 years, first of all, fuck yourself for ever thinking that, like, I'm the one that you have to, like, save from the dark side every fucking day? Fuck you. You know, like, that I wouldn't be a good person had you not been there? That's so insulting. He did get me through some very tough times. Appreciate that part of him, you know, that actually was a nice person before California. But, like, yeah, everything after that has just been, like, I had better friends. Anyway, I hope that is helpful for you, and I will talk with you soon.